for the elderly, and it has been badly damaged by the quake. About 80 of the 300 people living there have been forced to leave. They were in the southwest wing, which is now closed off totally because of the quake. There is obvious extensive damage to the exterior. Hundreds of bricks tumbled to the ground when the quake struck. But the true extent of the damage is unknown. Building inspectors were there this afternoon checking out the damage. Meanwhile, residents still there were getting by the best they could.
Most of the building is pretty stable because it was just that section over there that came down. Although it shook, everything was on the floor. I had bookcases all over. I could, no cracks in the wall, but everything was falling down. Every room was crashed. I lost oodles of dishes, expensive dishes, all kinds of stuff like that.
They're kind of old people. Some of them had to be carried out. And, well, they took it real good. Then they feeding us, they taking care of us good. Whoever, Red Cross really looking out for it,
The people still staying there are being fed by the Red Cross. The power is on, and we're told that most of those forced to leave the southwest wing are now staying with friends or relatives.
In Menlo Park today, geologists at the U.S. Geological Survey said the quake was a magnitude 6.9 and it very probably hit the San Andreas Fault, although there is a slim possibility it hit a nearby offshoot of another nearby fault. They also said it ruptured a 30-mile section of the fault. That does not make it the big one. The 1906 earthquake ruptured a 300-mile section of San Andreas Fault. Rita Williams has more on what the USGS said today, and it was not very reassuring.
It's hard to believe 30 seconds of shaking could do so much. And still, scientists say Tuesday's 6.9 earthquake has done nothing to prevent or delay the so-called big one they say is certain to hit the Bay Area someday.
There is an even chance of another magnitude 7 or larger earthquake within the next 30-year period.
And the most dangerous area for the next major earthquake, they say, is shown here in yellow. The Hayward Fault in the East Bay and this strip along the San Andreas Fault on the peninsula from Belmont to Santa Cruz. It's the first time the peninsula has been singled out.
In the 1906 earthquake, it slipped a smaller amount than the part opposite San Francisco and to the north. And so we believe that it will rebuild to the breaking point at a sooner date.
It's the same prediction scientists at the U.S. Geological Survey made last year about the danger of a major earthquake on the San Andreas near Santa Cruz, exactly where Tuesday's quake hit. As for aftershocks, geologists say we'll feel them for months, but the likelihood of a large 6 or greater quake drops to about 1% tomorrow morning. Scientists say they've flown over and hiked over the epicenter of Tuesday's earthquake, looking for ruptures on the ground to match those below ground. They found nothing. That's unusual. Something else unusual about this earthquake, they say, is its depth. Usually quakes on the San Andreas start about 8 miles below ground. Initial readings showed this one started about 12 miles deep, and that, they say, may explain why damage was so great so far away. San Francisco is 50 miles away, but scientists say they were not surprised the heaviest damage in San Francisco occurred here in the Marina District, and secondly south of Market. It's like the little pig who built his house with straw. In this case, the houses were built on sand, and the Big Bad Wolf was a 6.9 earthquake.
We do know that the Marina District suffered liquefaction, which is what happens to sand filled with water when it's shaken. If it's very loose, the sand essentially collapses, and so you're asking the water to support the land surface. And so the buildings are essentially floating on a fluidized bed. It's quite clear that this happened in the Marina District.
As for the East Bay damage, though, along the Cypress structure, scientists today said there's no geological explanation, meaning the reason for the devastation there is man-made, structural failure. Scientists here say because of scarce funds right now, their studies for earthquake prediction are centered in Fairfield, midway between San Francisco and Los Angeles. Ideally, though, they say with more money, they would like to concentrate their efforts more on studying earthquake prediction in the increasingly seismic areas of Southern California and right here in the Bay Area. In Menlo Park, Rita Williams for the 10 o'clock news.
If you were at Candlestick Park when that earthquake hit, you know that it really shook and swayed, and because the damage is still being assessed, the 49ers will not be there this Sunday.